Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we're here for another poetry discussion. A poetry discussion that's going to find its way into two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one, obviously, being the poetry discussion playlist, but number two, being the Charles Bukowski poetry discussion playlist. Now, over 70 poems strong. This poem is titled, "What's the Use of a Title?" See what he did there? Do you see what he did there? Now, I think that it's going to be very easy to forget that title, but that would be the subtle brilliance of a Charles Bukowski. But we'll get there. We'll get there. The poem itself reads as such: They don't make it. The beautiful die in flame. Suicide pills, rat poison, rope, whatever. They rip their arms off, throw themselves out of windows. They pull their eyes out of the sockets, reject love, reject hate, reject. They don't make it. The beautiful can't endure. They are butterflies, they are doves, they are sparrows. They don't make it. One tall shot of flame, while the old men play checkers in the park. One flame, one good flame, while the old men play checkers in the park in the sun. The beautiful are found in the edge of a room, crumpled into spiders and needles and silence. And we can never understand why they left. They were so beautiful. They don't make it. The beautiful die young. They leave the ugly to their ugly lives. Lovely and brilliant, life and suicide and death, as the old men play checkers in the sun in the park. Now, as a beautiful person, I should probably recuse myself from speaking on this poem, but my first responsibility is to the literature, and by God, we're going to do it. But here's the thing. This poem is about beautiful people. The beautiful people, the beautiful people, not those beautiful people, different beautiful people. Beautiful people that cannot put up with the world. And why is that? Why is it that the beautiful ones flame out? And what is with that title? It's an ugly title, isn't it? It's a terrible title. It makes you not want to read the poem, doesn't it? That title, being the first thing that you see about a poem, makes you not even want to read it. You still did. Still did the work, had to do the work, had to get here. That title is ugly. It's not a pretty title. And you did your work through the poem to figure out just what is old Chucky Buck talking about here. The titles in general are the looks of poems. You notice how good looking a person is the very first time you set eyes on them. You notice how intriguingly a poem is titled the very first time you see the title of that poem. What's the use of a title? What good is a title? I don't need to title this poem. It sounds so very throwaway. What's the use of a title? Who needs to title a poem anyhow? I'm going to give you the meat and potatoes and not the title, not the whipped cream, not the cherry frosting, whatever people put on things. I have no idea. What did you get at Starbucks last time? None of that stuff. You get one of the flat tops, not one of the curved ones with the fancy straws. But he's got a point, doesn't he? Pretty people dying early, pretty people dying young. Why would that be? Now, obviously, um, there are very few statistics in this poem, but we understand what he's saying. The beautiful are found in the edge of a room crumpled into spiders and needles and silence. We know what Bukowski's saying there. We know where he's going with this. Live fast and leave a beautiful corpse. Only the good die young. This poem is something like a love child of those two phrases. But why would that be? Why would it be that the fast, living, good looking people have to flame out? Well, here's the thing. And it's something that we sort of try to refute, try to ignore in society today. Certain people are born with certain strengths and certain weaknesses. We do not all get off on the right foot. We do not all get off on a foot, and some of us just start the day on both feet. We have tools that others don't. Others have tools which we do not. So, in today's world, we sort of try to refuse the idea that some people are beautiful. There's this positivity movement in models. And I work in a place where there are pictures of makeup models. And it's wild to see some of the people that get chosen these days because they don't conform to any of these sort of, well, you look at someone and you think, whew, that person's good looking. All of us do. All of us do. And it's interpreted as if it is always a positive, right? I mean, yeah, Bukowski says it in the poem himself. We'll never understand why those beautiful people they flame out so fast. Why that happens to such pretty folks. Well, it is a strength. We can all sort of recognize that. Brad Pitt is going to get a lot of things in life that other people would not. But he's also going to have different expectations put on him, isn't he? Expectations probably for which he was not prepared. See, this question of looks in this poem, well, everyone is willing to listen to a good-looking person. Everyone is willing to make the time in their day for someone who's just so pretty. And that's where the problems start. If you are that pretty, but you've nothing to say, it becomes very apparent very, very quick. Someone who is so good looking probably has a much easier time of a lot of things, but only a much easier time of a lot of things at first. Maybe you're very good looking, you go on the job interview. Well, golly, sure would like to work with that good looking fella. I wouldn't mind having her around the office. Give him the job. Maybe that job is not something for which you are cut out. You still got it. And now you get to be the failure every day at work. You have your choice of friends. Everyone wants the handsome guy in their group. Everyone wants the pretty girl at their party, don't they? And then when you get there and you don't fit in with anyone, why does this keep happening to me? Why don't I get along with people? You're taking the opportunity simply because it's there, and you're good looking, so of course it's there. But you're not finding people on a deeper level. You're taking an opportunity because it's there, but probably underneath that surface, there was nothing there for you. You should not have been at that party. In the first place, you should not have hung out with that group of friends in the first place, but you had the opportunity, so you went ahead. This is something, we can always look to Greek mythology, right? Pretty people caused a lot of problems in Greek mythology. And they too were always tortured. The good-looking people never really had it all that great. But this doesn't have to be about just looks, right? This could be anything. If you are that outgoing person, you're going to find yourself in a whole lot of places that a recluse would not. And probably most of the time, those people that you're talking to don't particularly have anything of note to say back to you. Still, being outgoing is a strength. It's a strength that we seem to have some predilection to. There seems to be at least some type of inherent bias inside us to or against it. There seems to be some hereditary nature of it. And it's all strengths. If you're the tall guy, you should probably play basketball. But if you're tall and uncoordinated, you just look like even more of an idiot on the basketball court. These natural advantages that people are born with and some people don't have. It's the classic "this is a gift and a curse" idea. Here we have Bukowski, whose poetry is living here today, 30 years after his death. Is it in this poem? No, it was in a different poem I read recently from Bukowski where he talks about the rain during the Depression. And then he died in the 90s. An ugly old man, right? Not the beautiful, fast flame. So Bukowski had a long run of things. Bukowski had seen this all before. Bukowski had seen people, lots of people, and their talents. Bukowski, the tortured genius writer, here we are reading his words 30 years after his death, almost exactly 30 years after his death, heading into 2024. Died in 94, right? 93 or 94. I can never remember this, and someone always pops in the comments and reminds me, but I can never remember it. Anyway, brilliant things to say. The guy's still selling books. He was basically a pauper during his life. His strength, and sure, he fine-tuned it during his life, but he had an otherworldly eye for things and tuned that into being a writer. Didn't die particularly successful. Has probably known more success after his death than during his life. That's the same thing as being beautiful, right? Same thing as being the tall guy, right? Same thing as being any of these things that we can have naturally, normally, given to us, just at birth. And it is then our responsibility to live up to those things. It's a strange case. It's a strange poem. I think it's accurate, though. That's all I have for this poetry discussion. If you enjoy what I do here or appreciate it, hitting the like button really does help me out on the channel, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing that I talk about on this channel, dropping poetry videos every Monday. But there are also short story read-alongs. We're currently going through Dubliners by James Joyce, as well as the Finca Vigia edition, all of Hemingway's short stories, one by one, all the way through. We're also reading No Longer Human currently, and I still owe a review for a 1-year-old series on the channel for Fairy Tale by Stephen King. So I'll be hopefully getting to that shortly. But there's going to be all sorts of things on the channel, and I hope to have you back for the next one.